Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Hood. I am Tanya E. Hood, a wife, a mother, and an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, it simply means I've worn a lot of different hats in my life that have helped me develop a full range of strategies and actionable steps that I've used to help my clients make a strategic impact, both personally and professionally, to have better than what life has been given them. Red Alert Diaries is based on the life lessons from my premier book, Red Alert, Is He the One? The pocket guide defining the love of your life. Now, if you read my book, you already know that I got married at 21. And after 11 years of marriage, I found myself going through a divorce, having to raise my two sons alone. To reset my life and survive my divorce, I took the time I needed to get to know me better, which opened me up to new love again. So now I'm in a new marriage with the love of my life and my best friend, which just proves there is life after divorce. On this podcast, we have conversations that's real talk about marriage, divorce, finances, and legacy. I want you to join me on the journey. Call 240-532-2227. That's 240-532-2227. I want to hear your comments, your questions, your thoughts, because I want this podcast to challenge you to grow. So together, we can operate in excellence. Today, I want to talk a little bit more about a section of my book that I wrote because I was stuck in the in-between. You see, when you are going through a phase, there's always an in-between where you have been and where you're going. Some people call it the valley. Some people call it the wilderness. I just call it a moment where you have to gain some clarity, because it wasn't until I decided to get true clarity about what I was doing for myself as a woman, who I wanted to really be as a mother and a wife, that I got stuck. Those that read the book are fully aware about the mentor. The mentor was there to help give me some insight about who I was. But in the transition of gaining insight about what a true man looks like, the elements that God was telling me to look for, and my ex deciding to show up again. You see, I've already shared before that when you make a decision that you're ready to move forward, there will always be something in your past that will tug at you to see if you are truly ready. Well, that was a moment for me that I encountered. And so I wrote this in chapter 5 of the book, and I wrote the workbook to help enhance and make it go deeper for individuals associated with that. But let me read to you what happened when I found myself in a position where I had to choose to honor who I was as a woman or make a decision to allow my past to revisit my present. It says, that night, I wrestled with myself, trying to decide to honor the woman in me and choose a man that from the very beginning was respectful of me and helped me become a better person. Or do I honor the mother in me and choose to return to a life with a man that I wasn't sure had a God-given mission or could be supportive of my achievements? A man who is not certain of his life mission can be the most miserable person you will ever meet. He will make you miserable too, especially if you know where you want to go in life. A man who cannot be supportive of your achievements because he is floundering in a sea of uncertainty over his own life is not a healthy partner to have and to hold forever. I needed a man who was husband material and had the means to take care of a wife. I needed a man who was a responsible human being and who understood he needed to have something to offer. See, when you're going back and having your past show up again in your present, there's some things you need to look at. Sometimes as a mother, when you're raising sons who adore their father, and I am so grateful that they did, but there were pieces that I had to be clear about. So I would not make a decision that would support my children who were a short-term realm and be stuck in a long-term situation that will force me back into the chaos I had just left after my divorce. And in the middle of trying to decide who you are, what you bring to the table, and the insight to get true clarity about what to do next, A prayer will get you some answers. See, I threw up a Hail Mary prayer. Y'all know those types of prayers where you're not really sure God's going to answer it, but you know God should be the person you give things to now because you have done everything you can think of. You have walked through every path that you can possibly walk. So I threw up a Hail Mary prayer. And in the middle of that prayer, there was a poem that came to mind. And I couldn't recall it. And then as I was doing a quick search for something else, y'all know how that works, it showed up. It's titled A Good Woman. It says, a good woman is proud of herself. She respects herself and others. She is aware of who she is. She neither seeks definition from the person she is with, nor does she expect them to read her mind. She is quite capable of articulating her needs. A good woman is hopeful. She is strong enough to make all her dreams come true. She knows love, therefore, she gives love. She recognizes that her love has great value and must be reciprocated. If her love is taken for granted, it soon disappears. A good woman has a dash of inspiration, a dabble of endurance. She knows that she will at times have to inspire others to reach the potential God gave them. A good woman knows her past, understands her present, and moves toward the future. A good woman knows God. She knows that with God, the world is her playground. But without God, she will get played. A good woman does not live in fear of the future because of her past. Instead, she understands that her life experiences are merely lessons meant to bring her closer to self-knowledge and unconditional self-love. Girl, smile. You know you have got it going on. So keep on keeping on. That, to me, was an answered prayer. See, sometimes we are looking for these big major things to show up to be answers to the prayers that we ask of God. But it's often in the small things for that moment in time that you really need some insight. Because at that time in my life, I needed to be clear of what a good woman truly looked like. And I needed to know in my heart and soul that I was. So that when my past started trying to play on the present and force me to believe that there was something wrong with me after I had already taken 3 years to start redeveloping and manifesting a better version of myself. See, if you don't know who you are at the core of your being, there will be people, places, and things that will come to try to circumvent it. And so that day, I made a decision to love Tanya more, be clear about who she is, stand in the glory that she had discovered of herself. And now I had an answered prayer to let me know I was a good woman. There is nothing wrong with trying to be supportive of people that are in your past, but be clear about where they stand in your present so that you don't sabotage your future. Because see, ladies, when I took the time, the mentor gave me insight, and I eventually positioned myself to look out for the woman in me. And as a mother, I still honored that element of me. So my children were whole, even though I chose not to go back to their father. Because sometimes that luring of, if I just do it for them, it'll be okay, because I will be all right if they're all right. I need you to know that they will be all right when you are all right. It took me years to discover that. So even after reading that poem, it still took me several years to make a deliberate decision to move into a process that would make me whole. And along the way, my babies were being dragged behind me. So the sooner you make a decision, the better it will be. And for today, if you don't remember anything else I have shared, here's the one thing I want you to know. Having true clarity of who you are will allow you to set the standards and boundaries that you need to be intentional about what your future looks like, about how your present will function, so that you can truly live a life that honors you and being the good woman that you are. And for the men that listen, when you are clear about who you are and where you stand, That allows the woman in your life to truly be clear that it is okay to be who she is in her potential. Don't allow anybody to make you believe otherwise. Now, if you want someone to join you on the journey, feel free to reach out to me on my website, tanyaehood.com. Go to the Work With Me tab, and there you can see the various ways that we can have a conversation together to put together a strategy, an actionable step that will support you getting to your next level. And if you're on Clubhouse, join me to extend this conversation in the Red Alert Diaries room. We're there every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so that we can continue the conversation or we can just start a new one. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.